Well, good day, everyone. I want to talk today about what it means to be a watchman and ask the question, have you been called to be a watchman? So, in ancient times, the watchman was somebody who would sit and stand at the city wall that surrounded the city, that protected the city, and they would watch out and look for the enemy if the enemy approached. That was their job. It seemed pretty simple and straightforward, but today we have a similar thing that we do, but we don't have city walls anymore. We have the approaching enemy, I would say the works of Satan. So, what does Jesus talk about watching? So in Luke 21, when he describes the whole chapter is Jesus describing what it'll be like when he returns. He exhorts his followers. He says, "But watch," which he means be a watchman. Watch for yourselves, lest your heart be weighted down with dissipation, drunkenness, and the cares of this life. When that day will come upon you suddenly like a trap, for it will come upon all those who dwell on the face of the earth. But stay awake at all times, praying that you have strength to escape. So why would he ask you to pray if there was no chance of you escaping? That's what I would ask the post-tribbers. Why would he go to all that trouble to say, pray if you can escape these things? He will take us out of here, those who are faithful at heart, and those who do pray to escape. Anyway, pray to escape so you can stand before the Son of Man. So what day is he talking about? Well, obviously, in Luke, in the same chapter in verse 25, he talks about the day that they will see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. So the day that he returns is going to be a day of fire, smoke, tempest. If you read Psalm 50, you can read all about it. It describes what it's like when he returns. And then in the parable of the 10 virgin bridesmaids, basically Jesus concludes that parable when he says, "Watch, therefore, for you know neither the day nor the hour that the Son of Man is going to come, that the groom is going to show up." So he's exhorting us, his followers, to watch and stand guard. And the question is, when you do that and you watch and stand guard, you're waiting on him. I mean, do you have Christian friends that really aren't waiting on him? They're just going about their life, letting the cares of this life weigh them down. In Isaiah 40, we have a verse that says that those who wait for the Lord will gain new strength. I think some of the people might know that verse from this song. Strength arises, we wait upon the Lord. Wait upon the Lord, we will wait upon the Lord. Strength arises, we wait upon the Lord. Wait upon the Lord, we will wait upon the Lord. So we probably heard that song. So, even in these songs, when we're singing these songs, we are reading verses. That's how cool Christian music is. I mean, if you write a Christian song, the lyrics are already written. You just open the Bible up and start singing to it. Anyway, um, so you probably have Christian friends that say to you, "Why are you always concerned about this stuff? Why are you always talking about the return of Jesus?" And that's what he says for us to do. So what do we learn about being a watchman from the Old Testament? In Ezekiel 33, we sort of get an overview of what a watchman's been told to do. They stand at the wall, they look out, and they're looking for the enemy, and they blow the trumpet and warn the people. It says that their job is to do that. And if they don't do that, then the blood of those innocent who that watchman was watching for would be on the watchman's hand. So it's our responsibility, if we've been called to be a watchman, to tell people about the return of Jesus and about the terrible things, the events that are going to occur as he's returning. So right here it concludes in verse 7. It says, "So you, Son of Man, I have made you a watchman over the whole house of Israel." Now, don't get confused when you see the word Israel. Israel is not what you know it to be as of today. Israel is a 12-nation conglomerate under Jacob. Jacob's name was changed to Israel. So today, the modern day Jews are the remnants of Judah and Benjamin. But the United States and Great Britain form the tribe of Joseph, and these other nations over here basically are Western Europe. So Ezekiel was called to be a watchman over the whole house, not just the tiny little nation of Judah, which is modern Israel of today. So I just want to throw that out as a reminder. Okay, so if we jump to Micah 7, we get a glimpse into what the scene will be when the watchmen are called. So in Micah 7, we see references to the timing. It says summer fruit is going to be gathered. It says this is somebody who's left behind. And this person is saying in Micah 7, the prophet's basically emulating somebody who's there after the rapture occurs. He says, "Woe is me, for I have become as when the summer fruit has been gathered, as when the grapes have been gleaned. There is no cluster to eat, no first ripe fig that my soul desires. All the first ripe figs have been taken, raptured. The godly people have all disappeared." Boy, is that the rapture from the Old Testament? Interesting. Not one honest person left on the earth. They are all murderers, setting traps even for their own brothers. And look what it says. The most upright person who's left behind is worse than a thorn hedge. And he says the timing is the day of your watchman. Even the day of your visitation, that's the visitation of the Lord, has already occurred, has come. So the Lord has already visited, has come. And now it is time of confusion. Those are the days of the watchman, which we are right now. And another concept of the watchmen is, what do? We see in Song of Solomon 3. Song of Solomon is all about the bride and her beloved. And the bride is chasing after her beloved. And in chapter 3, it actually says that the bride gets lost in the city. The bride rises up, goes into the city to look for her beloved, the groom. And look who finds the bride. It says the watchmen who go about the city find this bride. That's one of the jobs. So the watchmen are sort of a set-apart group. There's many assignments within the encompassed bride of Christ, and one of them is a watchman, or the watchman. We learn from Jeremiah chapter 33 what tribe the watchmen are from. And this is an interesting thing here that kind of goes unlooked. It says right here, it says, "For there will be a day when the watchman will call from the hill country of Ephraim." Now, I have another video that explains clearly that Ephraim is the United States. So there's this watchman group that's affiliated with Ephraim. If you think about the world right now, where are all the people that are looking out for the Lord? I mean, they basically reside in the United States, some in Great Britain too. And look what this watchman says: "Arise and let us go up to Zion." That's the heavenly Mount Zion, to the Lord our God. So if you read chapter 31 of Jeremiah from the beginning, it's a description of a first fruits reunion in heaven, the heavenly Mount Zion. And you can tell that the watchmen are there. They arise and take the bride with them. Look who they take. They take the remnant of Israel, not modern day Judah, of all of Israel. And look who comes in this first fruits reunion: the blind, the lame, the pregnant women who are faithful, and she who is in labor. This is basically the first main departure from the planet that's going to just send the entire earth into a tailspin when they realize all the children and all the godly people have gone, as it says in Micah chapter 7. So we also learn that this first fruit reunion is basically Ephraim. They are God's firstborn. They're the firstborn of this huge harvest that's coming. And we also learn from Revelation 14 that Revelation 14, 144,000, they are all part of this. They're the first fruits of God. So if we jump to chapter 9, we have more referencing to the watchmen of Ephraim. And look where they are. It says, "Ephraim's watchman is with my God, not on the earth, in Mount Zion." So there's a period where the watchmen are going to go up into heaven, and they're going to take the bride and the children with them. And look what it happens. It says, "The days of your punishment have come. The days of your retribution have come." That's payback. "Let all of Israel know it." All of Israel, the left behind, know it. The remnant has been taken, but the majority of Israel has left because of the magnitude of your guilt and hostility. Ephraim's watchman, that's the watchman of Ephraim, is with my God. And what I would note here is that there are 12 tribes. I would challenge you, try to find the watchman of Naphtali, or the watchman of Issachar, or the watchman of Zebulun, or the watchman of Benjamin, or even the watchman of Judah. You can't find it. These tribes are not looking for the Lord. There is one tribe that has watchmen associated with it, and that is Ephraim, which is the United States, which makes sense. That's where the watchmen are. They are of the tribe of Ephraim. Okay. Basically, Hosea 9 is a punishment of Ephraim and Israel, the West and United States. And God says he will punish their sins. All right. We learn that there's even a watchman set over Judah, which is the watchman of Ephraim. That's the Christian watchman talking to the Jews. They don't want to hear any of this. And God tells them in Jeremiah 6, God says to these Jews, I have set watchmen over you, saying, pay attention to the sound of that trumpet. But they said, we will not pay attention. They're not listening. You ever talk to a Jew? They don't want to hear anything about end times. They don't know anything about their own scriptures. They totally ignore their own prophets. They go on babbling in Hebrew and never understand what they're even talking about. I've been to a synagogue. They're very nice people, but they don't know anything about their prophets. They totally ignore them. Here I am trying to talk to them about what's going to happen, and it's like I'm speaking a different language, even though it's their own Hebrew and their own prophets. And what does Jeremiah 4 say? When Jeremiah 4 is a picture of the Lord returning to save the tribe of Judah in Israel today. And this is what they say. When they see that sign in the sky, the Jews there say, how long must I see that cotton picking sign in the sky? How long am I going to hear that darn trumpet blowing? That's going to be their response when all this goes down. And God says, for my people are foolish. They know me not. They are stupid children. They have no understanding. They are wise in doing evil. But how to do good they know me not. So the point here is just to talk about what the Bible says about the watchmen. And these watchmen are from the tribe of Ephraim. That's the Christian watchmen. That's who these people are. And even in the United States, the watchmen are a very small group. The sad thing is, even most people in the churches, they don't want to hear anything about watching for Jesus. And the few of us that try to tell them, we get these rolled eyes and strange looks. But all I can say is, if you're called to be a watchman, like it says here in Ezekiel 33, if you do not warn those who you've been called to be, the Lord says that the blood of those innocent who weren't watching will be at your hand. All right, guys, with that, I'll let you go. Have a good evening, and God bless.